So it's really very exciting being here in Israel. I'm sure everyone's having a wonderful experience the first few days here. And as I mentioned actually in our opening remarks of the Shiur this year, that really there are three phases that Torah can find this expression on. It could be in the Yachid, the guy learns by himself. It's Torah's learning by himself. You have Torah B'tzibor, you have a Shiur now, we're learning B'tzibor. Then you have Torah on a national level. You have nationally, the whole country takes upon itself the concept of mitzvahs. That's why, as we mentioned, Melech has to have a Sefer Torah, that we know that the purpose of the Melech is to lead the nation in a mitzvah-oriented way on a national level. Of course, we don't have that yet. We're not saying for that yet, but that, of course, will occur with Moshe Mashiach. But we do get a little bit of a feeling, maybe a little bit of a taste of that excitement of the whole country being Jewish and feeling about mitzvahs. I'm sure everyone experienced the first Shabbos, no buses. It's a very nice experience. You begin to sense that people identify, even they're not religious, not religious, but they have a little identification with, they know it's Shabbos, you know, it's a concept you're not supposed to drive. Whether they listen to it or not is another story. But they have at least the ideas registering in their mind. Even around here in our neighborhood, you notice that the traffic is much lower on Shabbos, even though it's a non-religious neighborhood. But somehow people sort of get a feeling that try to curtail a little bit your activities. I noticed here when I came here the first week, I was in the post office and there was the guy who was taking care of me was a dati, a religious person. He's wearing a kippah, wearing a yarmulke. He's setting up my accounts and the stamps. And then I happened to ask him. I said, I was waiting in line. I said to him, maybe if there's a Hanetz Minyan in the neighborhood. I said, yeah, there's one. I told him where it is. He said, but for Shabbat you may get another in this neighborhood. And I began to think, where in America could you go to the post office and find out we can get a Minyan Vatican. So it does give a little bit of a flavor to the concept of a nation, a little bit of a feeling. What it means when everyone has the right an idea. Certainly, it'd be nice to have the right idea, but it's moving in the right direction. You begin to feel. But on the other hand, we do find that certain problems begin to crop up. And halachic problems, and we have to be aware of them because we're dealing with the Jewish country. We can't take them all up, but I want to take upon one. But to give an example, which we're not going to go into today, bank loans. As soon as you take out a loan from a bank, whether it's a mortgage or a loan for a car or whatever it is, right away you run into a problem of what problem you run into. Rivers, right? So all the term, most banks you go into, you see at the Isker, posted on the sign. Of course, you can have like so many other things. Machokis, is this at the Isker good? How is it written? But right away, it's concerned dealing with the Jewish bank. In America, obviously, you don't have that problem because 99% of all the banks are not Jewish. You don't have the problem. And actually, one of the reasons why Tosis suggests one should avoid coming to Israel, which is very unique. Remember, on the other hand, you have the Ramban, which held it was mitzaseh to live in Eretz Yisrael b'zman hazeh. And although the Rambam did not agree with him, but he certainly felt it very encouraging, and he brings down the Rambam only certain conditions you could leave Eretz Yisrael. So although he didn't categorize it as a mitzvah, but leaving Eretz Yisrael is a problem. And hopefully throughout the year we'll talk about that, because the problem may be halachically, even though you're just coming as a tourist, according to some, might still present itself as a problem. That's another discussion. But Tosis brings down two reasons why one should try not to go to Eretz Yisrael. Now remember, he's talking about at the end of Ksubis, where Umar is talking all about the praises of Eretz Yisrael and all the wonderful things on many levels that one experiences living there in Israel. So Tosis has taken up the question, so why is everyone, at least in his generation, at least in his society, why are they not going? So his first answer he brings down is because Sakanas Drachim. That was very dangerous in those days to travel to Eretz Yisrael. Actually, when the Ramban came, there was wars going on there between different factions of Muslims and crusades, and it was very difficult and dangerous at his time as well too. But Tosfos brings down that Sakanas Drachim, not mechuyev to go, not mechuyev to put your life in danger to do a mitzvah. Kuch Nefesh, of course, we know comes first. However, Baruch Hashem, we don't feel any danger here, and actually terrorism is an international problem. When anybody goes to an airport, they check you and they recheck you. So it's not only in Israel that terrorism is a concern. It's a national problem. So that obviously that reason doesn't apply anymore today. But then Tosfos name Rabbeinu Chaim brings down the famous reason why he also says he's a little weary about coming to Eretz Yisrael. And he says because there are many mitzvos, ki yesh kama mitzvos atluis ba'aretz. There are many mitzvos that deal with Eretz Yisrael, they anu yichol le'yizor behem. That the many mitzvos dealing with Eretz Yisrael that you can't do, you can't keep. Now Tosfos was referring to laws of Shemitah, laws of Trumos, and Maasros. And in his days it would be very difficult during the Shemitah year to survive if you can't plow the fields and you can't and all the food is hefker and you get from field that was plowed and all those complications that deal with Shemitah. So therefore Tosfos was concerned that if you go to Eretz Yisrael, certainly not at the expense of doing of violating mitzvos. Remember, the experience in Eretz Yisrael is to enhance your commitment to Torah and to enhance your learning and to enhance your performance of mitzvos. And if you come to Eretz Yisrael and you can't keep the mitzvos, so you're not gaining anything. On the contrary, you're losing. You're violating mitzvos min Torah. But on that point, which again is another topic by itself, we have a little while to Shemitah. We know what year we're in now? Shemitah?
I think we're in the 5th year.
The 5th year. All right. So all right. Bezrat Hashem, you guys will stay here a couple years and learn. We'll go through the Sugya of Shemitah. It's coming up soon. We'll enticement to stay another couple of years. But here in Eretz Yisrael, it's also a remarkable thing to talk about a nation that in Eretz Yisrael we have official position of Misrad Datot. It's part of the government, the Ministry of Religion, and that gives them a lot of power to partake of rules and regulations of the government. In charge of shuls. Most shuls receive a stipend from the government, and schools receive stipends from the government, and marriages all under Misrad Datot, which really enhances or really saves many problems in the area of marriages and divorces, which in America sometimes you have a lot of major problems. Again, it's another topic by itself, but here it's pretty much, or to a great extent, it's under the control of Misrad Datot. And also Shemitah. Talking about Shemitah today is also under major control of Misrad Datot. And today, a person, also with modern technology and modern transport, you get food produce that's brought in anyway. So today it would be not difficult at all to be in Eretz Yisrael during the Shemitah year and not violate any of the laws of Shemitah. And even people, as you can imagine, in every topic people have more chumras and more chumras and more chumras. You could probably eat on every single chumrah and still make it through the Shemitah year without violating anything. But it's interesting to note on the topic of Shemitah, which is another topic which we'd like to get to one time. Like every 7 years, they're improving the halachic system in many ways, and also the concept of trumas and maasros. Every ashkacha, you buy a package, there are like 4 ashkachas on it. It's not enough to have one; you got to have 4. And you can be sure everyone took off their own trumas and maasros. Sometimes you go to a real religious Haredi neighborhood, they probably took off so much trumas and maasros, there's not much left to eat. But because everyone is more machman than the other person. But anyway, you could survive it without much difficulty. So you see that being in a Jewish nation, it has its own concerns and problems, not necessarily problems, but challenges, I should say, that we have to handle with. And one I want to talk a little bit about is a problem of electricity, which we don't have in America. There's no problem with electricity. Why is there no problem with electricity? Because primarily it's all non-Jewish people running. There's 2 things. Non-Jewish people are running the electric companies, And even if you have a Jew, it's only a minority of Jews involved in the electric company. And certainly you could assume that anybody who's running the power plants in America are goyim. And that's number one. And number two, although I should say, a guy is not permitted to do work for a Jew on Shabbos, but he's doing it for goyim. Remember, the majority of people in America are goyim, so all these power plants are basically being fired up for the majority of people, and you're just sort of hanging in there for the ride, so to say. So you really don't have that problem. But in Eretz Israel, things are different. The majority of people here are Jewish. That's number one. And the question is, who is actually working in the power plants, which we'll come back to. If they're Jews, it really increases the problem, because a Jew doing work for another Jew on Shabbos is more severe than a guy doing work for a Jew on Shabbos, even though a guy should not do work for a Jew on Shabbos under most conditions. So first, we just want to give a little background to understanding the concept of electricity. Is it D'oraisa or D'Rabbanan? Actually, the Chazon Ish was, as far as I know, the only one that held its Nissa D'oraisa. According to the Chazon Ish, the person putting on a light, I don't mean an incandescent bulb, because that might be D'oraisa according to other Mefarshim too, because that's really Eish. Incandescent bulb burns. It's a real fire that's burning in there. That's what gets so hot. But even flipping the switch, Chazon, for anything else, even for an incandescent bulb, would hold it was a D'oraisa. His understanding was, of course, as far as I understand his theory of it, I never saw it when he wrote it inside, but the way it was explained to me by many of my earlier Rebbeim was that he held that making circuits is like boner, is like a form of building. You're not allowed to build on Shabbos. And he held making circuits is, opening and closing circuits is a form of boner. So, and that's what basically electricity is doing. It's opening and closing circuits. So therefore he held it was D'oraisa. Although, as far as I know, he's the only one that was so machmir. The other Gedolim were not, including Rav Moshe. And the earlier Talmidim mentioned that Rav Moshe felt that it wasn't boner. Of course, it's really made to operate that way. You can't say boner is opening and closing a door when you go out of your house and you slam the door. It's not boner. And apparently, the early ages of starting electricity, many, including Rav Moshe, felt that maybe he didn't fully comprehend how the system worked, of circuitry, how the system worked of circuitry. But anyway, Chazon Ish held it was Nissa D'oraisa to use electricity on Shabbos. I'll take a question now.
Can you maybe say it's not with others?
He could have said that too, but again, all the other poskim I know of, including Rav Moshe and including the Rav and including Rav Hankin, my knowledge of this is that it's not makav a patish if it's made that way. You can't say when you go outside your house on Shabbos and you close the door and you lock it. That's not makav a patish. Makav a patish is you are completing the object. It wouldn't be complete until you do a final stage. It's like a tailor. Sometimes you get a suit. You have a thread in there or the pockets. That would be a category of makav patish. You wouldn't sell. The person not going to use the suit if you can't put your hands in there, so you cut those threads open. But if it's made to open and close, that's the nature of the object. So it won't be makav patish.
So what do they say it is again? A D'Rabbanan?
Most say it's D'Rabbanan. Yeah.
To what is it?
What's the
What's behind it exactly?
So the D'Rabbanan could be under a few categories. Ma'aseh could be bona D'Rabbanan. There are many halachas of bona D'Rabbanan.
Isn't the only reason why it's Ma'aseh Chol because we don't do it on Shabbos?
Because it's not made for the activities that are used for motorization, motors, and things like that.
But let's say this. You can say that about a lot of things. Let's say just saying turning on lights.
Turn on lights.
Okay, we'll come back. Let's hold it for a second.
That's H, no?
Yeah. Well, let's take it step by step because we can get a little bit lost. Let's take it step by step, and we'll try to get all the questions in. But I just want to first get a few points clear, and then we'll go back on the questions. But you should note that Bnei Brak was the Chazon Ish's town, so to say. He really actually, I guess we could say, really built it. as a Torah town. The information is that he asked at the time after the War of Independence, the Chazon Ish went to speak with then the Prime Minister Ben Gurion, and Shimon Peres was there. The president of Israel now was there. Shimon Peres was probably there. Who knows? He's been here forever. Maybe he was there. Yeshua Ben was here. I don't know, but he's been around a long time. And Chazon Ish said to Ben Gurion that after the Shoah, Torah was wiped off the face of Europe, gone. Everything was wiped out. Volozhin was gone, Radin was gone, Telz was gone, Meir was gone. The list goes on and on and on. And he said he wanted to rebuild Torah in Israel, and he wanted to start the first kolo. My understanding was that there was he brought one mother who had 3 sons. 2 of them were killed in the War of Independence, and she asked him. She said to Ben Gurion at the time, "Would it be so terrible if one son sits and learns Torah?" And Ben Gurion agreed. Ben Gurion consented, and that started the first official member kolo, as far as the government's concerned, with what's known as the Chiyat, the farmer from the army, and so on and so forth. So Bnei Brak came, his town, so to say. And many of his minhagim are following Bnei Brak. But what you got to keep in mind, Chazon Ish was a very powerful influence in halacha in many ways in the early stages of establishing Eretz Yisrael. There's a famous kibbutz Chafetz Chaim, which is a Shem Shabbos kibbutz. Still around, right. And it's called Chafetz Chaim because they either opened it, I don't remember, or they purchased the land the day the Chafetz Chaim was nifta, so they named it after him. And one of the early problems was, how do you milk cows on Shabbos? Obviously, it was electric, and you got to hook up the machines. So Chazon Ish went down, and he gave him his famous head to how to do it. Again, we don't have time to go into all these things, but it was a nice thing to spend there Shabbos. If you ever go to Kibbutz Chafetz Chaim for Shabbos, they give you a little tour, and they explain to you how they do it and what the Chazon Ish recommended, and so on and so forth. So you get a very powerful influence in many areas of Eretz Yisrael. So he was against using electricity on Shabbos. So Bnei Brak was really, many people in Bnei Brak followed his psak, and still do till today. And when I was there back in the 60s, before the advent of much technology we have today, so the people there who were following his minhag, which were many of them, were not using electricity in the house on Shabbos. And Friday night, you really ate by candlelight.
Well, they didn't even put it on beforehand for Shabbos?
No, because who's making those generators? Who's working those generators? Jews. So those generators.
Oh, they were Jewish people.
Right? So you can't get enough.
Oh, according to him, here wouldn't be a problem.
What?
According to the Chazon Ish, here would not be a problem.
Where's here?
Oh, right, no, not here. I think I thought it was.
We're still in Israel.
We're in New York.
In New York, right? New York's great, right? That's there. We're here.
How do we here?
How do we fix that now?
Huh?
How do we fix that now? How do we do that?
One second. I gotta give me a chance. Yeah, go ahead.
What about gas generators?
Yes, we'll get to this. Give me a chance. If I forget something, we'll come back to it. I just want to get a few points across. So in those days when I was there, many people would actually, you sort of was a nice feeling, had the experience of how it was times of Chazal. And many people would use, obviously, Shabbos candles on the table, near the table. They had oil lamps.
Do they have a shemesh?
Huh?
Do they have a shemesh?
Oil, yeah. Shemen. Oil.
Sorry.
Like that.
No, I'm saying you can't get hana from the mitzvah itself, no?
Try one again. No, the Shabbos candles are made to use.
It's Hanukkah.
It's Hanukkah.
My bad.
Hanukkah. Shabbos candles are made to get hana. As soon as the person I stayed at that Shabbos, you guys probably don't remember it, but you used to have the old alarm clocks, you probably never saw them, that you wind up. And when the ring would go the other way. This guy had a little ingenuity because he wanted to take off the light when he went to sleep. So he tied up his oil lamp with a string to the alarm clock, made it very tight. And then when the alarm clock went off and it started to turn, it pulled the string and it turned the knob and the flame went out. So people were using a little ingenuity in those days. Those days where you had to think to come up with ideas. But also it was interesting. The town was dark at nighttime. So Motzei Shabbos, and people couldn't. You started Shalosh Shudas and was light out. By the time you finished, it was almost pitch black. and you couldn't even see the clock on the wall. If it was a battery clock, they didn't have them anyway. So they weren't getting electricity in the house, so it wouldn't work anyway. And then Bnei Brak was in its relatively early stage, and Ponevezh is built on a little hill. You probably won't notice it today because it's all built up all around it. But it's built on a little hill, and I asked the people there, I was standing by, how you know when Shabbos is over? And they say to me, when the lights of Ponevezh go on, you know Shabbos is over. So it was an entirely different experience. But today, even though many people still follow in Eretz Israel, still follow the Chazon Ish, not only in Bnei Brak but in Yerushalayim too. But the technology has made life easier. One time, people were buying on their blocks generators. You can buy a generator; it's relatively easily to run. Today in America, many houses have their own generators based on blackouts. So people buying generators, then they come with backup batteries. So you buy a battery, special battery, install it in your circuitry, and you charge it up all week. And Shabbos you flip it on, and you're not just using battery power. So it came a lot easier today. You really don't have that experience. But anyway, that was the opinion of the Chazon Ish. Like I say, even till today, many people will not use electricity on Shabbos other than the battery backup. And you can be in the house, you probably won't even notice it because it's pretty good. Yes, go ahead.
What do we do?
What do what?
What do we do in the apartments?
Oh, you have to give me a chance.
What?
You have to give me a chance to explain.
Oh, okay.
Okay, then you can ask the
Do
question.
we use the generator? We don't use
No. Modi has no generators here. You don't have to worry about it. So now the question comes back. That was the shita of the Chazon Ish. But most Gedolim, like I said, disagree with the Chazon Ish and held that it was an Issa D'Rabbanan, So if that's the case, what is the heter? I mean, the Chazon Ish, even Issa D'Rabbanan, let's put it this way. No one holds you can electricity on Shabbos. No one holds you can put on lights on Shabbos, that's for sure. So there is an Issa there. Like I say, most held it's an Issa D'Rabbanan. Kain D'Oraisa or works like machineries, which does based on machineries. So it's some form of Issa D'Oraisa. Nailing it down, we'll try to get back to it, but it's not so simple, like you said. But basically, obviously, electricity is asa midrabanan. But still, it's asa midrabanan. So how do we have a heter for it? So at one time, many poskim were saying that that the heter for electricity is because the hospitals need it. The hospitals need electricity, obviously, pikuach nefesh. You can't have people on respirators and so on and so forth. If electricity goes out, that's pikuach nefesh. So they wanted to say that because of the hospitals, so therefore everyone could use it because the generators have to be done to keep the people in critical condition alive. The guys in surgery, you just can't have lights go out. Can't be done. But Moshe didn't like that answer. Moshe didn't like that answer because, again, you have to look at it in a very practical way. You can't say that for a few sick people, everyone could use it. It would be the reverse way. If you have a city where most of them are goyim, and the Jewish people are a minority, and they're tagging along, okay. But you can't do it this way. You have a couple people that are sick, and therefore the whole country could use electricity because of the few sick people.
Why would that be allowed?
What?
Why would it be allowed? Because if a Jew went to a store on Shabbos and bought a bunch of drinks for somebody else, if I had an extra, you can't take that drink because you're paying.
No. But the question is, the ones who are working the generators, they're doing it. They were saying the ones who are working the generators, they're doing it for the people in the hospital.
But are you allowed to get benefit from a Jew doing something?
So they want to say, since they're doing it for the people in the hospital, I'll give you an example. Let's say a guy puts on a light for himself.
Yeah.
Right? The guy puts on a light for himself. And you can sit down.
Oh, what if a Jew does it?
No, then you can't do it. Right?
Then what if there's Jews working?
No, but if a Jew is doing it because a Jew is asking for a Jew to put on a light. But if a Jew is doing something that has a heter for...
Oh, then you can, so if you turn on a light for a sick person, for whatever reason he would need it, you could read it now.
That's right. He's doing it because someone's sick. If someone's sick and he has to put the light on to see, to give him his medicine.
Right.
Then you can get enough of it. Because that was done beheter.
Right.
That was done beheter.
Oh, well then what's wrong with that?
So emotion didn't like it because it's hard to say like one Jew needs a light on, so the whole country could now use that. It's
Well, why not?
okay. Like I said,
The ratio.
a ratio. It's a thing called you usually go after rove, that the minority, it's hard to say that the minority is matir the majority. You should use it. In other words, if one Jew, you have one sick person to put a light on, so therefore whatever that is, everyone, it's even if I light up a whole city, it's hard to say that I lit it up only for that one Jew. Hard to say that Chevra Chashmal is lighting up.
Saying that's not their intention.
That's not the intention, right?
Oh, okay,
That's not the. It's not Chevra Chashmal lighting up just for
Right,
2 months.
Alright, so someone
They're doing it for you. They're doing
right,
it for
so
you.
if a Jewish person came and turned on a light for a sick person and everybody else.
That's right.
then
I'm
they
going.
would-
I'm going to an apartment building. There's someone downstairs needs a light on.
And
So
then
turn
you
on
do it
all the
for
lights.
you, right, exactly.
That's right. So that's what motion department.
Okay.
So now the question that came about was so Moshe wanted to work with a different angle, and the question is who is running the generators? Now, if it's Goyim that are running the generators, then of course that would be mutter. Why? Because even although you have Amirul La'akam, you cannot tell a guy to do something for you directly on Shabbos, or even indirectly. I should really make it so clear. Even indirectly, you cannot tell a guy to do something for you on
Aren't you allowed
Shabbos.
to hint or something?
What?
Hinting.
No, hinting is not a good heter. No, only certain conditions, very rare conditions.
Yeah.
But a guy cannot do anything for you on Shabbos. Period.
No
Even
Shabbos.
if you don't tell him. Let's say you're sitting in a dark room. You're sitting in a dark room, and the guy sees you sitting in a dark room. You don't say anything. He puts the light on for you. You have to walk out because he's doing it for you. A guy can't do it for you. If he's doing it for himself, yes, you could do it.
It has to be an old benefit. It has to be for him.
It has to be for him.
It has to be old benefit or something.
Has to be what?
Old benefit.
Old benefit?
versus new. It's.
But that's another thing. That's another case. Okay, well, I don't know if we'll get to that. Right. But primarily, he can't do it for you unless there's circumstances that permit it. Many amata for shul years ago, you used to have the guy put on the lights in the shul. Or if you're sick in Europe, the guy used to come around. It was freezing in Europe. The guy used to come around in the morning and light the fire to warm the house. Because a din of a chola you can ask a guy to help you out, even if it's not pekuach nefesh. If someone's sick, even if it's not pekuach nefesh, someone has a sore throat and he's cold, you can tell a guy to put the fire on. So even if you're not sick, if you're cold, you have the din of sickness, of being sick, and a guy could do it for you.
That's Ramosha's.
So 1 second. So Moshe also has another case, which was very common. He forgot to take off the light in the refrigerator before Shabbos. I remember growing up, there was always someone had the job, take off the bulb before Shabbos. When they open the door, the bulb goes on. Since then, many people, as soon as they buy a refrigerator, take it out, because sooner or later you're going to forget. So now let's say you forgot to take off the light in the refrigerator, and it's Friday night. Come back from shul, and the light in the refrigerator is on. What are you going to do? You can't get your food out. So Moshe says you could ask a guy directly. You don't have to hint him. You don't have to do that. Ask him. So Moshe says this is a tzarech gadol. This is a very important part of Shabbos. To be all Shabbos without food, that is a high level of discomfort that allows us to ask a guy to do something. Just tzarech gadol. It's called a big necessity that is needed to help you enjoy Shabbos. Like I said, if you're cold, Chazal said, if you're cold, tell the guy, put the heat on. Tell him where the matches are, tell him to light the match, put the thing on, that you can do. So certain times, what?
Tell them straight out.
Straight out. So the matches are over there, and here's the fire, tell them straight out.
But then why can't you tell him?
Hinting is, you can't, let's say you forgot to put the light on in the living room. You can't hint to the guy, say, it's dark in here. That's absolutely cannot do. Hinting doesn't work under most cases. Most cases. Like I said, even if the guy puts it on for you directly, you can't do it because he's doing it for you.
Right.
A guy can't do it for you. But if it's a tzarech gadol, if it's a very big need, it's going to make Shabbos in a very discomfortable way. You're not going to really enjoy it. You have no food.
Oh, so if a timer thing goes off and it's like buzzing the entire Shabbos, you can ask someone to turn that
That's
off.
actually remind me of a story. I used to live First came out, I used to live in the Lower East Side of New York City, of Manhattan. That's where Ramosha lived, and that was a very strong Jewish neighborhood. Now, in those days, the Lower East Side was notorious for car theft. Actually, my first car, which wasn't a new car, was a second-hand, or I should say maybe a ninth-hand or tenth-hand car. And when I first bought it, I thought, who's going to steal this car? However, I was wrong. One day I get up and one guy took out the battery, another guy took out the radiator and the tires, and they don't care on the Lower East Side, anything they can get. So the next car that I got, those used to have alarm that you open the door, so opens the door, pry something open, the alarm goes off, and it rings, it rings, it rings. You don't see it too much anymore today. But those that used to have it. So of course I got this car alarm with 4 different alarm systems. And it was one Friday night, I came back from shul, and went upstairs to my house, and it was on the 5th floor, and about to make Kiddush, I hear an alarm going off. I said to the wife, I wonder whose alarm that is. Anyway, we make Kiddush, and it's still going off. And the wife looks out the window and says, hey, I think it's your car. It's mine? Yes, I run down the steps, go outside, my car's going off. Screaming and screaming, so I didn't know what to do. So already it was about 10 o'clock at night. So I didn't want to go to Ramosha. I felt it was a little late and maybe sleeping. So I went to his son, Rabbi Feinstein Shlita, who lived basically in the same building that I did. So I went into his house, and of course I opened the door, and his rabbi said open the door, and Ramosha was there. He went to visit the kids, and he happened to have been there. And I told him, I said, I got a problem, my alarm went off. Of course, everyone started to laugh. They said, oh, all during the meal, they're talking about whose alarm is going off? Whose alarm is going off? So my question to Ramosha was, can I ask a guy directly to take my keys, I'll give my keys in the house, and walk outside and turn the alarm off and give me back my keys?
Just making it easier for them.
Right?
You're just making it easier.
Make it easier for them. That's true. That's true.
Just give him the car.
So Ramosha was thinking, and you need some type of a reason. So Moshe's first question he asked me was, is it hefsed meruba? In other words, is that would that be a monetary loss if the car keeps ringing and ringing? And I said probably what will happen is the battery will go dead. It's going to eventually the battery will go dead. Says, how much would it cost me to buy a new battery? I said, well, you need a new battery. Just probably need a charge. That's $2. $2 even those days wasn't hefsed meruba. So Moshe says, one second. They're already I'm on the 5th floor, I heard it. And I think our building was on the 4th floor then. They're still hanging. Moshe says it's almost 10:30, people are going to sleep. People don't be able to sleep. That's going to disturb the whole neighborhood. That's when you start mentioning that. So Moshe said, okay, that's good enough. And I had to tell the guy to give him the keys, then go outside and take off the alarm, which I did. And of course, I knew the guy who was the custodian of the building, and I gave him my keys, and he gave me back my keys. So I did have the car back, but I did give him a tip after Shabbos, $1. I think he thought it was a little bit cheap there, but anyway, can't help that. But anyway, so you have to have a certain reason for me to lock them. Since that you can't, it has to be a certain reason. So therefore, like I said, the case with the refrigerator, to go to Shabbos without food or alarm going off, it's just very uncomfortable. So that's Amir Lakum. So obviously, if you don't have lights on Shabbos, believe me, that Shabbos in Bnei Brak was a wonderful experience. I don't know if I can do it every Shabbos. Do it once, good, but every single Shabbos with oil lights, and you get in the middle of the night, you can't. It's pitch black. It's black there, and so that's itself gadol. But this is only premised on the fact that goyim are working in the Chevra Chashmal. It won't work if Jews are working there. I couldn't ask a Jew to take off my car, take off the alarm. I can't ask a Jew to open up, even though he's not Shem Shabbos. That you can't do. So I'll take it 1 second. So Moshe said, what's the problem? What's the malacha here that they're doing? They're firing up the generators. That when you have a generator, remember at peak hours, the government, or not the government, the electric company has to fire up more generators to make more electricity. Electricity doesn't come by putting on a switch. The way electricity works is you gotta have energy. That's why electric companies have to buy fuel, oil, coal, nuclear fuel, something that's going to make things boil and turn turbines and make things spin, and you're going to start making electricity. So you got to fire these things up. So that's the problem. That's a real deracer. You're really doing H. You're really firing these things up. So Moshe wrote in this tshuva that probably this, going back many years ago to his times, probably he felt that I don't know if someone gave him the information or himself assumed that probably if things run automatically. After demand is high, the generators start turning on things themselves. If demand is low, they shut down by themselves. That was the information that he based his tshuva on. Therefore, he said only if something goes wrong, the automatic system is not working. Only if something goes wrong, then you have to do it. Someone's going to have to do it by themselves, and that you don't know. So you go by Rove, you go by Chazaka, the way it most probably works, and therefore Moshe was materit.
So in the
But, one second, let me first finish. But since that time, I did have a chance to look into it a little more. And at the time, last time I looked into it was back in the 1990s. Now, it might be a good idea. I'm sure everyone would enjoy it to see if we can get a tour of the electric company here in Israel. It's really a remarkable piece of technology, and then we can really see what's happening. By the way, the electric company in Israel does claim, like I said, I looked at it last time, 1991, they claim on Shabbos they only have Arabs, Goyim, working in the plant. Now,
and that's only just in case the automatic
one
systems.
second. So the way it does work, again, my uncle Ron Salvation used to say, in order to get the right psak, you have to know halacha, you have to know the facts. So facts change in technology very rapidly. I'm not 100% sure of the facts today. So 1991 is a long way off. But in those days, in 1991, they really had to fire them up by hand. It wasn't done by electric. When you flip a switch and the generator goes on, you really had to open up faucets and spigots to let fuel in and fire things up. I don't know how it's done today. Today, I'm sure things are, maybe it works with a mouse on a computer screen, which would be a darbanan. So that would be a darbanan. And I'm not even sure today if the Chevra Chashmal is keeping their word that they are using only Goyim to work out the situation. But if that is true, that they are using Goyim, then for sure you have no problem here in Eretz Yisrael, because like I said, if a Moshe is mata getting a guy to take off the bulb in the refrigerator because it would be uncomfortable without food, certainly whole Shabbos, that electricity certainly going to certainly going to be uncomfortable. So certainly you could have a guy do it for you. So really we'd have to really determine if Goyim are operating the plants on Shabbos, which would be an interesting phenomenon that I myself would like to be updated on that. If it's not true, which I personally suspect, maybe the one in charge, maybe dealing with, it's not like a little machine, it's not like you put it on a tape recorder, tremendous plants. I would suspect, again, it's my own suspicion, that maybe the heads or the department who are running these things are Jews, but then they're telling the Goyim. So really we have to see how it works to really get a better understanding. But we could assume that what the Chevra Chashmal has stipulated, that they try their best to get, or they do get Goyim, then you have absolutely no problem. They absolutely have no problem. And therefore would be no problem using electricity. But that's certainly something that we would like to try to find out a little more information on. Okay, let's go back, take a few questions over here. Let's take this. Go, yes.
But you said before that if the goy does something for a Jew on Shabbos, you have to, like, since H doesn't allow you to leave the room.
You have to leave, right?
It's the same thing applied by a Jew, right?
For Jew, for sure.
Okay, so what if that would be like have some rule? Like it's happened before. I see in my house, for example, like if we have somebody's not religious over.
I guess somebody's
not religious. We have them over for Shabbos or for Shabbat or something like that, and something goes wrong, and they're quick to, let me do it for you because I don't keep Shabbos anyway. So we can tell them not to, but like if let's say I don't know, they say breaker flips. So they say, okay, I'm gonna do a favor for these guys, and they turn on.
You should let them do it.
Let's say because it's Sabbath. If they do, if they do,
they have to leave the house.
So yeah, you have to,
That's awkward.
That's That's not such a simple answer.
Yeah, it's-
Well, first of all, if you're in the winter time, you have to put yourself in the freezing cold. And,
Wait.
but the guy.
What?
I would say then if you're flipping the switch again. The question of electricity is really electricity itself requires a little more understanding. That's why I asked before what the issue is. What is really the issue when it flips that switch? So it's a little more. What is the issue per se of electricity?
It's not the spark, but the spark. It's not the spark
well,
when.
it will be.
Spark.
Yeah, but the spark is Shalom Eskaven. You don't want a spark. The spark is
Yeah.
really
But that's the-
dangerous.
but that's-
That's why a faulty switch could cause a fire. You don't want it, but it happens to be
Oh, right.
because electricity moves at extremely fast and moves at the speed of light, 100,000 miles per second. So the spark is going to come out, but they do have mercury switches, and then you don't want the spark, the Shalom Eskaven. This is Shalom Eskaven. So it's a little more, I would say flipping, obviously you should tell him not to do it,
Yeah.
that's for sure. If he did do it, then I would say I'm going to leave, because you're not really sure if there was an Issa. Remember, the electricity, the wires are hot anyway, just the question is, you got a hot wire, the question is where is it going through? So it's basically when you put a light switch on, you're redirecting the current. So this whole basically is flipping where electricity is going to go. But electricity is coming from the power plant. So I would say that obviously you should not tell him to do it, even though he's Jewish, even though he's not religious. I'm sorry, he's not religious. If he did do it, I would say I'm going to the opposite.
What if it's
Wait.
Let's try go this way. Don't send her.
Back to the refrigerator example with the light bulb.
Right.
Let's say you don't have a goy around. Would it be better to do it yourself or not to do it at all, but still start gadol?
So yeah, I would say if you don't have a guy around, I cannot think of how to do it yourself. Because remember, first of all, incandescent bulbs are real fire. Many of them, including Chaim Kaczynski, for Abdullah, they would use an incandescent bulb. That's a real flame. That was one of the ingenuity creations of what's his name, Edison, of Thomas Edison, because it burns. And the question is, it would burn out very rapidly. You have to change your bulb almost, I don't know, every day, every week. So he came up with the idea that in order to know something to burn, you need oxygen. Right? Remember your chemistry, you need oxygen. So lack of oxygen doesn't burn well. That's why the bulbs were made as a vacuum. They sucked out all the air as much as possible. And there's very little oxygen. That's why they go for a long, long time, because it couldn't make combustion. But it is a low combustion flame because it gets very hot. So that could be real Asian taken out. Could be, for example, Chaim was going to say many people even today. If you don't have a match, you use an incandescent bulb. These bulbs, well, I'm not sure these are
For what?
For Havdalah, very Reish.
Just turn a light on?
It's very Reish. And have the light on, very Reish, go like this. Perfectly, right.
Cool.
But I know about these bulbs. These look like halogens. I'm not 100% sure about that.
So what about
Fluorescence.
What?
Fluorescence.
Oh, different. So fluorescence is not really. Are they cool? Fluorescence is a different system. It's just shaking up electrons. So you basically, it's not real fire.
So it's
Fluorescence is not real
malacha.
fire.
Let's give up already.
Bona de Rabbanan
Well,
for the
maybe it's
circuits?
Mulhika, but
So what's the malacha? Bona de Rabbanan for the circuits?
Huh?
The malacha is
No. So we hold electricity is also most postal electricity is also Dabbanan, not Deraisa. This is also Dabbanan.
But why?
Not Deraisa.
Because-
so there are many Isurim that come under the Isur Dabbanan. They sort of have a structure of a Deraisa. You have different types of almost all bishul cooking. Like most of cooking is Dabbanan. Right, most of cooking is abundant because it's structured like putting something that's cooked, putting it back on the fire. So these things have a structure of a malacha d'oraisa.
So
certain electricity has a structure of building.
So
I don't mean building bone like
Yeah.
but a structure, right? Yes.
So you're saying
but
that-
the bottom line is,
sorry.
but we need more time to go into exactly how electricity works to understand the issue. But certainly. Almost all. I never heard of a girl that's matching using electricity.
No, I'm not looking for a matter. I'm just trying to understand that. So because it's a structure in that it looks similar to the deraisa
It
itself,
works similar
and
to
we're
the
not
deraisa.
sure is it
Like
'cause
bishul.
it's a new thing.
Like
you have to
bishul,
make,
you
have to
take
make it
something
durable.
off the fire, you can't put it back on.
Yeah.
Right, 'cause
So
that
it's turning
is-
on a light and off because it gets hot also.
Well, that
Is that possible?
turn light might be deraisa. That might be deraisa.
Turning on a light.
On light,
It's
take
an
over
ish?
keyboard might be.
What's keyboard?
Extinguishing. Because that's a real H. The incandescent bulbs are real H.
So
It's a
what about other
a
ones?
real fire.
So what about other ones?
Huh?
What about these guys?
Yes, these are not real H. These are, like I said, this electrons being.
But it would be going at because with the
Not
circuits.
boner, it's boner. It would be structured like a NOLAD. This is a NOLAD. You're creating new things. There are many issues which come under creating creating lights, new things.
Okay. And with the electricity, before we were talking about with the electric companies and factories here.
Right.
So you said that the first heter was that they said that it's automatic, and then only when the automatic flips off. Or
That was
something,
one of the heter Moshe used. Yes.
Then that's when real people have to come and fix the
Right,
problem.
so he
The
said-
problem is being
right,
a
that's
Jew,
right.
and that's only in Eretz Yisrael. But in that nowadays, they promise that it's all Arabs and non-Jews working it on
That's
Shabbos
my
because they
understanding.
understand this problem.
That's right. That's my understanding.
Right, we don't-
And
but
what
let's-
you know,
and
you
we can
should
rely
know,
on that.
in Israel, it's a very unique phenomenon. Even though you have a lot of people that are not Shomer Shabbos, many of them go out of their way to try and please the Shomer Shabbos people. Many of them don't, but many of them do. And certainly the electric company, either out of the goodness of their heart or just don't want people demonstrating, making things. They don't want to be known as anti-religion. No one wants to do that. And so it's very plausible that they are using Goyim.
It's positive for them.
Which would be very good. Yes, Nisam.
Yosef Sar said that if you are the Baal Bayis and a non-religious person wants to turn on something,
which you should do. But I've had instances where I go over to somebody else's house who's not religious, but he's Jewish, for Friday night or something, and the lights are not on, and he just puts it on. What do we do in that case? Nothing.
In that case, well, let's put what you should do. Then we'll try to work around that. You should do is leave. Or the second option is, if another person does it, you have to tell them that you're coming over, but you can't put lights on for me. Best thing is to be frank up front. So you have, especially a lot of times relatives are not religious and they're nice guys. They want to be friendly with you. And Shalom Ben Ochel is an important thing. He wants one of them too. So the best thing is to be frank with them up front and say that I'm observant and I'd come for you, but I have to put the lights on before I come.
What about?
Now, one second. Now, obviously, it's very hard to walk out of the guy's house. Also, so I would say if he did it and he's there himself, I would say you could stay already.
Even let's say he turns it off after I say that.
If what? Yeah.
He turns it off.
Yeah. So it's very. You have a lot of times with little kids growing up, they put on light. They say, "Oh, put a light, take it off." Right. So you gotta tell them. It's always good to say, "Now, don't take it off." But once you put it on already, just leave it already. But next time,
But they can't go into that room?
Please, they'll do it before Shabbos because that's part of the religion, and try to explain to them.
But they can't go into the room anymore.
What's that?
You can't.
Let's get Hudaya. Yes.
Yeah, so if a non-religious Jewish person turns a light on in your house and it's like freezing cold outside, you have to leave it. Can you stay?
No.
But would it be better then to ask a non-Jew to turn that light off?
No.
Because
No.
Oh, okay.
Once it's on time, the very was done already.
Oh, it was then
Very
so.
done. So.
Yeah, but then you could be not benefiting from.
No,
what-
but that will to.
Oh, so it's just the affair of what he did.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Who's next? I'll go back to Vicente. Yes.
Didn't you remember you say before though that if the goy turns on the light when the Jew's in the room, if he does it for his benefit, it's okay?
If he does it for the guy's benefits,
Right.
okay.
But how do you know what his intention is then?
So I mean, so if the guy, let's say you're lobbying a hotel somehow, and the guy comes with a newspaper, puts the light on, and reads, you can do it. We used to have a very interesting, very cute little joke in Europe, because Europe relied a lot on the goyim, and in Russia. In Russia, the goyim drink, they like to drink a lot of vodka. So a lot of times the person had to put a light on or a candle light on. So they were told that they put a bottle of schnapps in the dark corner of the room with a little glass. And they told the guy, they said there's a bottle of schnapps in there, a little bit of vodka left. Well, yeah, a little vodka left. I can't see it, but if you're welcome to help yourself and have a drink. And of course, his eyes would light up. You go in there, strike the match, light the candle, take a few drinks. Great, thank you very much, Rabbi. And then on the way out, he'd go and blow the candle out. So that's what you call a good guy cup. Okay, guys, we'll stop here.
Okay. Wait, I'm sorry. One more.
Yes, go ahead.
What you were saying before. What about a